How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. It is the Fourever Arsenal podcast. I saw yesterday Cecil and Curtis did a live and they used the Fourever Arsenal intro. So I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, a lot of the people in the comment section was underwhelmed, to say the least. Big up Cecil and Curtis, but you're not Forever Arsenal, lads. So,
you're not big up at all. Not big up at all. No.
Yeah, that's a big blow for a big blow. That's a body blow, that is.
Hating our brand. It's not good enough.
Yeah. We'll talk to them on the side. I just come back from holiday to the shock and the comments. I was as shocked as the comment section was, but yeah, we're here, people. It is
what can we do to boost our numbers? I'll tell you what we'll do. We've played a Forever Arsenal theme.
Yeah.
What a pair of scoundrels.
Straight from the book of Cecil. I know how his mind works. But yeah, we're here, people. I say we. It's not four of us again because, it's pre-season. It's summertime. People are, enjoying random breaks here and there. James. You was in Kenya for a few weeks ago, bro. So
I still came on.
And I've returned to London, Forever Arsenal, to still the time management of the show isn't the greatest, but it's only pre-season, summertime, right, Lee?
Yeah. 1 minute late I was today, like, you know what I mean?
He does what he wants, yeah. I saw your comment last show. He does what he wants, yeah. So do you, mate.
He does what he wants. I'll tell you what, I actually see you at, which was, I did give you a compliment last week. Like, I see you by the swimming pool with your hat off.
I watched. Thank you.
But like, you want to dig in for 1 minute late, fair enough. You know, fair enough. Like,
I thought you might miss me, so I thought, what better way?
No.
I'm straight back here, and I'm here to enforce the rules again. That's what I'm about, not messing about.
Exactly, and I admire you for that. Like, unfortunately, you don't do it for yourself, but like, it is nice that you've got our backs and make sure that we're disciplined and everything like that.
Always.
But we are officially on holiday, aren't we? We're officially.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet, though.
We're chilling. I'm sure you'll be off soon somewhere anyway. Well, there's pre-season tour coming up.
Pre-season tour. I'm gonna get a week in before the season as well. Like, week away. I think I'm gonna miss the Emirates Cup.
Not a big shame. I mean,
I haven't missed them before, but I've not been that inspired by the Arsenal transfer window at this moment in time. So I thought the only thing that I have been really excited about is the beer change.
I saw that you put that in the group as well.
That's the best signing so far of the season. So that's exciting to get back to. But I'm still not feeling it with the Arsenal at this moment in time. So I thought, you know what, £40 a ticket and all, like,
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
quite expensive. I thought, like, not for the likes of us jet setters, but like I'm talking like the average family, like, like 40 quid's a lot of money, like, so that's what, if you got like, you want to take your kids or whatever, like, or even if you just got one kid you want to take, like, that's 80 quid. And I can tell you this now, that those kids ain't going to walk past that shop without wanting to buy something, you know what I mean? So it's an expensive time, and of course you can't do it in installments. You have to pay up front. Shame like the club doesn't do the same in a certain area of the summer as well, like, but there you go.
There you go. Lee's on point this morning. He said he was tired, but he's ready to go. I see him. Jordan, how you been?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. A bit like Lee, a bit uninspired by Arsenal's summer so far. It seems to be warming up a little bit. We're going to get into that in a minute, but I'm not excited yet by the season. But man, it's pre-season. I'm just, you know what? I've not watched any football over this pre-season, guys. I've deliberately swerved the Club World Cup. I caught a little bit of the under-21s just because it's on the network that I work for. So just kind of see it from a kind of presentation point of view, how they kind of covered that. But even that, I think I watched a game or two, and even then it was like half an hour or so. So I've just kind of detached from the football and just chilling, man, because we forget that when you're in the 9 months of the Premier League season or domestic season, it takes a lot of you. Takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
Content. Well, you guys do more than me, but I do a lot of content. But there's so many lines coming out of Arsenal alone. Never mind all the lines coming out of Man United, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. You know what I mean? There's a lot to take in. But when the season's off, I just plug out.
Yeah.
Totally plug out, man. But yeah, man. Let's this is my favorite part of the week.
I plugged that last summer, and I don't think it worked well because look at the way the summer went. So I'm very much plugged in this summer. To be honest,
you took your foot off the gas a little bit last summer. Look what happened, Turkish.
I did, man. We ended up with Sterling on loan, so we had to.
Do you know what, though, guys? I don't know about you. I'm like with you, Jordan. I tend to switch off this time of year. Tennis is on, cricket's on, and all that. But fans and supporters love this transfer window, don't they? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's incredible. I see the other day, like, Gyokeres dumps his girlfriend, like, and everybody's going mad about it, like, you know what I mean? And we've been linked with, nothing's in concrete, like advanced. When that word advanced gets used now, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody here was like in my groups patting each other on the back, saying, "Soldier, patience, told you." You the moaners in the group, and I think, what's actually happened then? What's actually happened, like, you know what I mean? I haven't seen Gyokeres sign or anything like that. Advanced talk. I'm looking at things at the moment, and they can't agree a fee. So what's advanced? You know what I mean? Like, but everybody just goes absolutely wild on it.
The Wild West, that's what the windows are now. It's not what they used to be, where you could be surprised by someone coming out at a press conference or coming out of a cab the day before they're ready to sign. Now, we're even seeing leaks of Norgard's welcome video or whatever it is, pictures online now with Berta and
scraping the barrel.
I see that yesterday, so that's definite then.
Yeah, it is definitely. I went off to Cyprus a couple of weeks ago, and I was very underwhelmed. I'm a bit. I don't know I'm less underwhelmed now than I was going into Cyprus. Why? Because a few players that have been linked, it's the players that I'd like to see at Arsenal Football Club. But I'm not talking about Madueke, by the way, Jordan. We will talk about him as well. Eze, Rodrgyo, and the Gyokeres stuff. I mean, music to my ears in terms of finally looks like we're going forward on the striker. But like Lee said, until it's signed, sealed, delivered, we know better at Arsenal to get carried away with it.
I can't get excited. Maybe people call me a moaner and everything like that. I cannot get excited like a lot of people have until it's done. When it's done, as far as I'm concerned, it's a massive game changer if we get it, and it changes. It changes the dial. It really does. But at this moment in time, until that one gets done, Arsenal ain't challenging for the title. They're not going to win the title. But with Gyokeres, it gives you, or a centre forward of that, it gives you that little bit of hope. But nothing's done yet, and everybody seems to think that it is, and it might well be get done in the end. But as when they show that shirt like they did with Zubimendi and all that, then I can relax a little bit and say, right, yeah, I can enjoy it and everything. Maybe I'm different to everybody else in that, but everybody's like. Well, there's people. Like, I was in the gym yesterday, and two guys come up to me like, "Fantastic that we signed Gyokeres." So I said, "Oh, what's it? Breaking news?" No. I said, "We ain't signed him yet." You know what I mean? Like, but it's advanced. It's advanced. You know what I mean? Like, well, I haven't. I've been on this bloody treadmill for about 4 hours. It ain't advanced me in any way. Like, you know what I mean? So, what is going on? You know what I mean? What does advance mean? Can someone really explain to me what that means? Because I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Advance is just one shy of here we go.
I even saw a video. Sorry, one second. Just go on. Sorry.
No, I'm playing along because I know what Lee's saying, and
I even saw
the football world. So
I even saw a video, of Fabrizio Romano a few days ago, who said He's not even doing "Here We Goes" anymore now. He's doing the "Here We Go" is coming.
Yeah,
he's
soon.
Like, he's previewing the "Here We Go."
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, just. And I'm not having to go at him because I get it, content, people like that. But I just think it just says a lot about football fans, but definitely our fan base, Arsenal's, that we get excited by even the possibility of negotiations. And as Lee says, words like advanced and in talks with and looking at and interested in. It's like, just tell me when it's done. When it's done, let me know. When I saw the video from Fabrizio Romano saying that the "Here We Go," I forgot what the wording was, but it was something along the lines of, you know, "Here we come," or "Here we go" is pending, or "Here we go" is. Yeah. I'm like, he's previewing the "Here we go" now. That's where we are. Is that how bad it is? Like, bloody hell.
I saw the video as well. He says, "Soon, here we go," or something like that.
And what's this other one like? You know, come on. And they make a headline of it. So-and-so's added to the Arsenal wish list. You know what I mean? Like, that's an unbelievable one. Like, you know, you've added to the list. You know what I mean? Like,
my wish list, and I ain't got her yet. So, you know what I mean?
Well, no, like, this is the thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like shopping at Tesco's. Oh, I've got to put milk on the list here. Let's have a little sing and dance, like, you know what I mean? Someone patting up you, comes up to you and pats you on the back and says, "Whoa, we got milk on the list. Well done," like, you know what I mean? It's essential. It should be on the list anyway, you know what I mean? But, you know, but there you go. I don't know.
If by the time this show comes out, and it is a "Here We Go," or it is confirmed in some way, shape, or form, how are we feeling about Gyokeres being the one that, you know, Arsenal have leaned towards?
Me, do you want me to go first? I think it's
it looks like Jordan might start with a negative. So go on, let's start with
I know. I spoke to Jordan about this the other day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he preferred Watkins, but don't like, you know what I mean? Don't. Let's not go down there. Let's not go down there. Put him on the list. That's all I'm saying. Just put him on the list.
He's on the list.
But I do think it's a game changer. I really do. I think that what we've lacked over the last couple of years is a proper centre forward that, when it matters, when you're not playing that well, ball goes across the box, bang, goal, and you think, like, you know, you walk away from a game and think, well, we didn't play well today, but we've won. I don't think we really say that too much at Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like, Arsenal have to play to a certain level to get a result every time. Whenever Arsenal played really, really bad and ended up winning 3 or 4-0, I can't remember it too many times, you know what I mean? But other teams do, because they've got that goal scorer that gets them out of trouble a little bit. Like, I'm not saying they should rely on it, but I think it's a definite weapon for us. I also think it will help the players in and around that area, the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Odegaards, that haven't played with a proper centre forward for a while. And I just think that it's also a boost for the fans. I don't care what anybody says, because you feel like the club are wanting it as much as you do. You know what I mean? Like, I question that in January, that the club and even the management didn't really want it, because they didn't go out and get a striker in January. And that hurt me, because I really want Arsenal to win the title and everything like that. And I felt that the club didn't. Maybe, you know, obviously they did, but you know, there's certain things sometimes you just have to go above and beyond. And I think that this is an above and beyond sign. I think it's needed. Listen, what day was it? Come out on the Sunday, didn't it? Like, you know what I mean? That we're going for it.
Yeah.
That you could see the fan base was up for it and all that. And I honestly think, I don't know how you guys feel about this. If we was to sign Gyokeres tomorrow, I don't care about who comes in after that. You know what I mean? Like, but if they're bringing in players and not that centre forward, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated by that. Like, because I don't want to bring in another Chelsea player for 50 million if it's, and they're, you know, worried about 3 or 4 million to get a deal over for the striker that we need. So I do think that the next one coming through the doors has got to be the striker, guys. I really do. And I do think it's a game changer for us. I'm, you know, so maybe I'm being a bit delusional, but
it's the win now. It's the win now. It would, if we go back to what it was, the reality of what Arsenal were trying to do, and that's not Isak. the reality looked like, and it wasn't Osherman because, you know, his name probably wasn't in the hat as much as it should have been. It was Gyokeres or Sesko. And to be honest with you, the win now one, the one that applies, you know, more pressure on himself to get 20 goals this season and more pressure on the club and the manager to get over the line this season is Gyokeres. Because he, you know, as much as there might be doubts about the league he's scored in and the type of goals he scores and, you know, nonsense about he doesn't score headers when we've got about 4 men that can score headers. Why do we need another one? We need something different. It's the pressure sign, and it's the one that needs to get us. And I'm not like you, Lee, in that I care who they bring in after him, because I've not cared at times before, and Arsenal really taken the piss and then cancelled out the good work they've done earlier in the window with some poor work later on in the window. So I'm still keeping a keen eye on an Eze and a Rodrgyo, for example, because I think if those two get added with Gyokeres, then we're really cooking, because we're in the hype of, all right, we might be getting the hottest striker available in Europe at this moment in time, but Liverpool a few weeks ago got the hottest attacking midfielder available in world football, and Man City have got one of the prospects in Shirky, and Reinders coming in as midfielder of the season. So we can't forget that the competition has, you know, already extended the gap or increased the gap potentially on us in the first few weeks of the summer. So Gyokeres, I think, drags us back into it a little bit, but I do care what happens after. But I like that he's the win now signing. We want 20 goals from him, whereas Sesko would have been a bit different. And I like his mentality, probably more than anything. He sided off United a few weeks ago, citing that, you know, he's waiting for Arsenal. And as soon as the, you know, rumors really picked up with him, you're hearing all these other things about, you know, he's willing to put a couple million himself from his salary package, and, you know, he wants to forget preseason with sport and let's sort this one out here. I like that, because Man United probably would have paid him more, and he probably could have got more money elsewhere. But it seems like he also wants to be the guy that comes in and helps this club get over the line with something, which would in turn make him look how long we've been waiting for a league title. The team that wins the league title next, there's going to be a lot of, you know, revered players there, players that go down in history, especially for young fans and us who watched us win titles before. So I like the optics of it. Do I understand the risks? I understand the risks, but there's a risk with every striker available out there, you know. And by available, I mean not Isak, it seems. So the risks are the risks, but I'd rather take the risks on someone that has been doing it rather than the risks on someone that we hope to do it. And that's why with the Gyokeres stuff, nothing against Sesko, I like that it's landed on him.
The thing is with Sesko, just before Jordan comes in, my fella in the gym said a fantastic point yesterday. He said, look, you know, we get Gyokeres now, and in 2 years' time, get Sesko when he's ready. You know what I mean? Like that. I thought, oh, that's a good fit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Gyokeres is like be 29, 30, sell him and bring in the Sesko that's the real deal. You know what I mean? Or someone who's the real deal then. And, you know, I like that sort of mentality. That's the sort of mentality that Arsenal fans and the club has got to get, I suppose. You know what I mean? I didn't really think about that. You know what I mean? But like people go like, oh, you know, there is an argument that Sesko will be the better player long term, but at this moment we need it right now. Well, okay, get the player in you need right now, and in a couple of years' time, go and get another one that's right there. You know, I think that is something that we could look at, especially if we're going on forward. Like, you know,
yeah, we do it with left backs and goalkeepers. So why not do it with a striker summer on summer? And to be honest with you, Kai Havertz next summer, you know, 2 years left. Apparently, club's interested. If you rotate him with another striker like a Sesko or someone with a bit more youth and gusto in them, then you've kind of revamped your striking options in 12 months. And I think that's what we have to do in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jordan, you've been eerily quiet. I don't
just listening.
Quiet. It's the calm before the storm. So
no storm. Just listening to Lee's waffle, innit? But so I'll get my concerns out first, and then I'll get to the positives, right? Because there are positives about Gyokeres. One of my main concerns was, and I've slightly kind of watered this down now, because I've done a bit of watching of some of his highlights this week. My concern was, and slightly still is that I felt that he was quite one-dimensional, and I think a lot of his goals are based on power and strength, and that's never a bad thing, right? I just feel in the Premier League, if you come in like a hurricane and you bully up the place in the first 5 or 10 games. I think that gets you 8-9 goals, but I think the Premier League works you out quite quickly. The Premier League defenders are not stupid. Premier League coaches, managers are not stupid. They will work you. If all you've got to offer is that I'm bigger than everybody else, that eventually I think runs dry. But I've watched some more of his goals, and there is a little bit more variety and diversity in his goals than I first thought there was, which is a good thing. There's a couple of headers in there. You're right. His record with headers isn't great, but as you said, we've got 4 or 5 great headers of the ball, so that's fine. His penalty taking is decent. I saw a few goals with his left foot. One thing I do like is that he does often run in behind. I don't like that I don't want another player that comes deep. I think we've got Kai Havertz that does a very good job of coming deep, bringing defenses up so that we can get the Flirter and Saka in behind. Jesus does a very good job of pulling wide and creating space in the hole for other players to come into when he does pull wide. But what I want is a striker that kind of just goes in behind. I want a striker that can kind of really push back defenses and be that threat. Because Lee said, we discussed on 12th Man this week, I think the biggest beneficiary of someone like Gyokeres coming in is Martin Odegaard. I think he will be the biggest winner of everyone in the squad if Gyokeres comes in, because you'll have someone now that just wants to go in behind, just go in behind, just go in behind, just go in behind. So that was my main concern about Gyokeres. Lee's right. I'm going to just own it and say it from now, and I'll never mention it ever again. I would have preferred Watkins. I know it's not a popular shout. I know people aren't having it, and I get why. But I think Watkins, I feel more comfortable that Watkins can score the kind of goals or the amount of goals that we need to win a title than I am confident in Gyokeres. But that's not happening again. So I won't mention that ever again. That's done.
Thank you.
Just want to make it clear. I do have some concerns about Gyokeres, right? Yeah. I have concerns. Now, some of the good things about him, I agree with you, Turkish. The fact that he's trying seemingly to do everything he can to not only come to the Premier League, but play for Arsenal. That looks good. That he wants to play for Arsenal Football Club, and he's giving up money, and he's pretty much gone on strike. He said to Sporting, I ain't coming back. So you, man, better do a deal, because otherwise I ain't coming back, right? I do think the handshake agreement thing he had with the president is nonsense. I don't understand why people do this whole handshake. You have my word. It doesn't mean anything. So yeah. I'm with Sporting on that one. If nothing was signed, sorry, bro, honor your contract. But it feels like to me he's gonna do all he can to get himself out of there, which for us is good. I like the fact that we're signing a number 9 as well. We're not going for a wide forward. We're not going for a false 9. We're not going for a 10 that can play as a striker. We're signing a number 9. And that, for me, from a club point of view, is a very, very good thing as well. We're just getting a 9. There's no he can do this and that. Just score goals. Just get a guy that can score goals. That's a positive for me as well. And there was one more positive, I think, as well. Listen, I think the deal will get done. And if a deal gets done for what's reported in terms of fee, I wouldn't say it's a bargain, but it's a really good deal. 60 mil plus add-ons for a guy that was my final point. Yeah. Was it 50 goals and 40 goals in 2 seasons?
Yeah.
I caveat that it's in the Portuguese league, of course. But I was saying to Lee on the pod the other day, even if you half that, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. That's still 20 odd goals. Do you know what I mean? So even if he slashes goals in half and put in the fact that the Premier League tax, if you like, right? Even if he slashed his record in half, that's still 20 plus goals. That's decent. That's really, really good. And I think if you look at our front line as it could be this time next week of Saka, Gyokeres, and it'll probably be still the Flirter on the left. That front line makes me a lot more confident that we can do something next year. I don't think we win the league. I still think I'm with you, Tug. I think we need to do more business. I think that's a team that keeps us competitive. I don't think it wins us the league, but I'm much more confident that the likes of Van Dijk, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Mark Gahey, I'm much more confident than those guys when they play us are like, boy.
Yeah.
Boy, could be Pete today. These men have got some goons up front. Do you know what I mean? So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And look, I think the deal will get done. It's not the guy that I would have wanted. I do have some concerns, but let's be positive. And then when he comes in, I'm backing him. He's my guy. I'm an Arsenal fan, so of course I'm going to want him to do well, and I'll get behind him. But I want to get my concerns out early so that if it doesn't go well, I'm consistent. But look, listen, the guy has got all the attributes to bang. We've just got to make sure that we supply him. We've got to supply him, and I'm sure he'll do well.
Can I ask you guys what? Right, if we sign Gyokeres, you still don't think we're going to win the league or the Champions League. What signings do you think would then, on top of that, make us win the league? What are you looking at to say, right, this is the one that's going to win? Is it Eze or is it more than Eze?
Can I go first? I think it is Eze, not because I think Eze is some world class player. But I still have concerns about the creativity in our squad. And I think if you bring in Eze, who can play as a 10, but can also play wide as well, I think that gives us the variety, but also the creative output or creative addition to the squad that would make me think, okay, yeah, defensively, we're nice. We're nice defensively, right? But creatively as well, we will create 4, 5, 6 good goal scoring chances. And if you've got someone like Gyokeres up front, if he's as good as you are telling me he is, he will bang. He will bang. So for me, I think if you drop Eze in that squad as well, or even Rodrgyo. I'm not as gassed about Rodrgyo as I think everybody else is. I'd prefer Eze, but even Rodrgyo, there's a level of creativity and chance creation that I think goes up significantly if you bring in one of those two players.
I think both names for me. As soon as the Eze rumors landed whilst I was out in Cyprus, the Eze or Rodrgyo question popped up, and for me they're very different players. I see Eze more central. I see Eze as competition to Odegaard or alongside 8-10 type of, against some teams, and Rodrgyo improves the left-hand side option. So for me, both of them would indicate we really mean business, and I think that both of them would put us in a position where the squad is really fine-tuned now in every single position to go and win it. No excuses, go and win it. Now, even if there is an injury or two, you still got, this person or that person coming in, or this person you can look at, because how often over the years has it just been Saka? Now, okay, Gyokeres might be coming in. Hopefully he's coming in. But for me, it needs to be Eze and Rodrgyo, especially if Rodrgyo leaves.
Oh,
now,
you want both?
Both, of course.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Eze for me is central. Nwaneri would be backing up Saka and rotating over there, and Rodrgyo would be on the left. And if there needs to be, someone that goes on that left-hand side, then so be it. I don't really mind it. I just feel like we need a refreshment in attack. I feel like we need multiple threats, and I think the left-hand side over the years has kind of slowly but surely, through Arteta's tactical instruction as well, not been the threat it once was. Now, there's an argument that with Gyokeres coming in and Zubimendi, which we'll get onto later, we've got the ability to transition a lot quicker now. And that could also help Martinelli, because Gyokeres does like to float to the left as well. And when Jesus used to do that, that was probably Martinelli's best season. So there's an argument there that ifs, buts, and maybes, but I'm not trying to land on ifs, buts, and maybes. I want options, because if we go in again and then the left-hand side is a bit short, and then dare I say we pick up an injury to a Gyokeres for even just a stretch of 6 games across the season, then we're kind of back to square one in terms of the front three all of a sudden. So I feel like this is the summer to really nail it down. And if a player of Rodrgo's ilk is available, we need to get in, considering what he can bring, which is off the cuff moments, dribbling ability, inside outside goal scoring ability. I think that both Eze and Rodrgyo will be perfect. One comes in with Premier League experience, the hunger, you lot dropped me one time, I'm back now to prove myself. And the other one comes in with, you know what, they sided me off at Real for years. I still done my thing. I still, pop my head up here and there in Champions League games, La Liga games. Let me come and be the man now. So for me, an attack of Rodrgyo, Saka and Gyokeres Never mind just behind them being options of Odegaard, Eze, and then Rice in the 8. I think you're looking very, very healthy all of a sudden, and that for me, I'd be saying we're winning the league with that sort of a squad.
The problem with getting both of those guys in Turkish is Gabriel Jesus, because I've said this all year. The wages he's on and his inability to stay fit makes me think that unless you're going to sell Trossard and the Flirter, you can't bring in Rodrgyo and Eze. I just think the wage bill will be through the roof. Transfer fee wise, I think you got to get something back from those two guys to bring in the two you want to bring in. So I don't think we're going to bring in both, because I just think I think Jesus is the problem. I think he's the issue. He's eating up a lot of wages and he can't play until, what they're saying, November? That's a third of the season gone. So I'd be stunned if they. I agree with what you're saying. I'd love them both to come in, but I just don't think we can get them both in.
Overall, though, our wage bill isn't the worst in the league. You know, it's actually in a position where we could make movements before even some of the exits are ready. You know, on the card through free agency and Tomiyasu's contract being, and I think he was on 100k. Zinchenko's on about 140, so we all expect that he gets so. So I think there's room to move there as well. And like I said, if there needs to be a sacrifice on that left-hand side, I've always said that I'd probably nothing against Martinelli because, like I said, you know, with a different system transition, we've seen what he can do, but he's only done it for one season, and 2 seasons on now, it's just, you know, we're in a position where I can't rely on Ibs. Maybe, in my opinion, he might need a fresh start and we need a fresh start over there. So there's value there. And there's also 170k in wages. But then there's Trossard, where Al Hilal or Al Ali or one of the Saudi Arabian clubs might want him, and you can get 30 million, and I think he's on 100k. So there's room to move as long as you know, as long as Arsenal do the right type of juggling. You know, well, what is, you know, if the Gyokeres fee is to be agreed, then it's, you know, 55, 60 million pounds up front. That's, you know, that's an amazing fee for the potential you can get. And it also doesn't impact the budget as much as you might have thought getting in a striker of that ilk would have, because his release clause was 100 million euros not so long ago.
I touched on it. Sorry, before you come back in, Lee, I kind of mentioned it and didn't finish my point earlier on about the fee with Gyokeres there as well. If we do get him for 60 mil plus add-ons, that's an amazing deal. When you think of the midfielders that are going for 100 mil,
yeah,
you know, Declan Rice was a DM, went for 105 mil, and you're saying that's close to double what we could get Gyokeres for, a guy who's got that many goals in a European league. I think if they can pull that deal off for 60 mil plus add-ons, that's got one of the deals one of the best deals I can think of in a long, long time, because the standard fee now seems to be 70, 80, 90 mil. Caicedo 100, Enzo 100, Rice 105. Big fees. If they get him for 60,
yeah, I mean, I Havertz was 65.
65, there you go, yeah.
Solanke was 65, you know what I mean?
So, exactly. So,
you know, it would be a good deal, but, you know, I'm not worried about transfer fees and things like that. I'm not an accountant. I'm not worried about that, like, you know, like I go over to the Emirates and a burger and chips is 25 quid. Why should we be worried about what the transfer fee is like? You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
I'm not worried. I'm just flagging that.
No, I know you are. Same with me when the question comes out. Oh, let's sell Martinelli over Trossard. Why? Because you get a bigger fee. I'm not into that neither. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, put the burger up to 26 quid. Why not? You know what I mean? People still pay it. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Now,
the burgers are good, Lee. The burgers are good, Lee. The burgers are good.
They better be at that bloody price. Wouldn't know. I can't afford one. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll go around the Emirates. You know, some people leave half of it. I'll say, "Can I have your burger?"
That's 13 quid there.
That's 13 quid. I get a deal like that. You know what I mean? So I'll get a program with it as well. It's unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, you're selling it now.
Yeah.
But you know where I'm coming from on this. Like, I get what, you know, Martinelli, but you know, don't forget Martinelli can play out wide right. He can play down the centre as well. You know what I mean? And I thought he played very well towards the latter part of the season. You know, so
come on, Lee, it's over. It's time to go. It's over.
I'm not
Let
having
it
it.
go.
I am not having it. I'm not
Let
having
it go.
it.
It's done.
I think that maybe Trossard at being at 30 would be like the better. But I quite like Trossard as well when he comes on as an impact player. He does better than when he starts. If I'll be honest, I think like last season, I think he was the most played player in the team, as definitely as a front runner, Trossard. But yeah, listen, if you're gonna, I think like sacrifice players, well, you know, then I think you've got to be looking at certain players, you know, like Shinchenko, as you say. I think but they're not going to get great fees. So like, but we can. I'll tell you what, mate, a great bit of business. You want to get some lot of cash in. Let's cash in on Saliba. Oh no, we ain't going to do that. Why? Because he's a top notch. But you know, so I get it when people like that say that a little bit about Martinelli. But I do think he gets a little bit disrespected. I do. I still. Me and Jordan had a little bit of a thing about it the other day. I agree that you know you can't turn around and go, right, we've got to win something this year, and then go, right, well, let's take a gamble on Martinelli a little bit. Like, you know, Martinelli's got to be at the thing. But I'll tell you what, Martinelli still gets more stick than Odegaard, and Odegaard's season last season was
no, he doesn't.
Much worse.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No,
you don't call him. You don't call him the flirter, or
no. I'm saying Odegaard gets more stick.
Yeah, that's what he
Odegaard
said.
gets much more stick than Martinelli. Much more.
I'm
the only person that gives him stick.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, I don't see no one saying let's get rid of Martin Odegaard. Let's sell him. He's worth a lot of money, boys.
Yeah, but he's not put up 2 poor seasons.
Well, the season he pulled up last season was rolled into 2. It was a shambles.
Now you're struggling, Lee.
I'm not struggling like that. You know what I mean? His numbers last season were atrocious. Listen,
awful.
I'm a big Odegaard fan.
But you know,
he needs to perform.
Yeah, but that's why Lee, I want Eze to you know compete with him, to push him, to oust him. One or you know, I don't care which one it is. Yeah, and then I've got Rodrgyo, and I'm with you. I mean, I've always said Martinelli over Trossard. Reason being because, okay, you know, the money thing and being an Arsenal fan and seeing the way the club's been ran over however many years under this ownership, you know, we've got to juggle the books ourselves at times. But you know, if it is to be Trossard, I wouldn't mind that. But you know, I'm with you. We need to stack on top of what we've got because you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't you think as well? And Arteta will have to switch it up for Gyokeres, or do you think the system will remain the same and Gyokeres will have to? Like, how do you not see this? Because obviously, you know, back in the day, 20 years ago, I'm talking. If you sign the striker, you just expect the manager to make that striker work for him. You know, work around the striker or the main man. But nowadays, it's can he fit into the system? Can he do what Arteta wants? Do you not envision Arteta changing it up now?
I think organically it'll happen naturally, but I do think that you're going to have to change it up a little bit because you've got a striker, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to Havertz or to Jesus, that he's more happy to score a goal than create a goal. A striker for me, there are, I'm pretty sure if you said to Havertz and Jesus, you get what you get? Of course they get satisfaction at scoring goals, but they get just as much satisfaction out of creating a goal and whatever. Like, but Gyokeres and those sort of players are completely different. You know what I mean? That it's all about goals. So I think that it will change slightly.
You're so sorry to cut, but I think it's over the last 3 seasons. Let me know if I'm wrong. Comment say it might be 2.5. But Gyokeres' 38 assists ties with Saka's 38 assists, which is the most for us. So he's even got a little something there where I'm not saying he's an Ozil or an Arda Güler or someone that's he's someone that maybe takes the threat away and then can cut it back or just lay it off to someone else. So
listen, I'm pretty sure gone are the days where, you know, and I think we had it a little bit with Aubameyang, if I'll be honest. He was a great goal scorer and all that, but his hold-up play wasn't great. And it was, to be honest, it was weak. It was a letdown to the team and all that. Like, I don't think that you can have a player now coming into the systems of football where it's like mainly you're the main guy up front. You know, back in the day, it was two up there, where you could have a little bit of a, not a dodgy touch, but like, you know, some of the greatest goal scorers of the old generation weren't players that could hold the ball up. That was their weakest part of their game. You know what I mean? Like, oh, got to work on that and everything like that. But they were goal scorers, and I think you've got to have a little bit more than that now. And what I've seen of Gyokeres, he does bring players into play. And one of those reasons he brings his people into play and scores a lot of goals and creates a lot of goals is because, you know what, he's in and around the goal. That does help, like, you know what I mean? Like, I tell you what, like, I may, if I'm at the first game of the season against Leeds and I see Gyokeres on the right wing, I might go out and buy a burger and go home. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to see that. Yeah, I want to see him, you know, as the proper centre forward. Like, he might drift over to the left and everything like that. That, you know,
so you're saying drop Havertz? Hold on, stop the press. What are you saying here?
Well, Havertz that's his game. That's what he's told to do. You know what I mean? Like,
who you starting? Who you starting game week 1 if Gyokeres signs?
Gyokeres.
Okay. Lee Judges speaks.
But Havertz will start the first game of the season.
Nah, if we sign Gyokeres and he doesn't start.
Do you know? Should I tell you what I think he'll do?
Go on.
Listen, if Gyokeres isn't on that tour, I think Havertz will start. Right? Okay. But if he is on that tour, I think that, you know, Gyokeres, and I think that Declan Rice will play in the holding role, and Kai Havertz will be in that left hand side, like, you know, and Zubimendi will be like eased in.
We've got to hit the ground running and seeing Havertz.
If not, you know what I mean, like, you know, can Kai invert at left back? I think he has done it once for Germany. You know what I mean? Like, they've got to get him in this team somehow.
He conceded a penalty in that game, by the way. It was against Turkey. He scored and then conceded a penalty.
Terrible. Like, I mean, maybe not. I can see that happening. Like, you know, I think this is a key thing. I'm not so worried about if it was Rodrgyo coming in late in the transfer window, but I do think that if Gyokeres is not on that tour and then comes in, I think that's a bit of a gamble, boys, because as you've quite rightly said, I think the system's got to change it. You don't want to be doing that, tinkering with the system, away to Man United, at home to Leeds, away to Liverpool, and away to Newcastle. This needs to be foundations of how we're going the template of how we're going to play with him, if he's the one. That needs to be ready, like it was a couple of years ago when we brought in Jesus and Shinchenko and guys like that. You know what I mean? We was ready for it. If this goes on and on and on, I then start to worry. I think we need to get it done. Well, they go away on the Saturday, don't they? Next Saturday, the 19th, that they fly out.
10 days. I was just checking that now. Yeah.
I honestly think that I'm not worried so much about the pre-season work before that, but I think when you get on tour and you've got games that you're playing, I know you played games behind doors, but you know what I'm saying. I think he needs to be on that tour. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure when we go to Old Trafford, he may be about, but I think Havertz will start. And
I'll go one step further. I think Eze also needs to be in before the tour. Like our attack and final third midfield ability last year, it wasn't just one player away from being the finished article. We need at least a couple in before that preseason tour, and then wait for Rodrgyo, do what you need to play the game, and to drag it out. Fine, but Gyokeres and Eze, for maybe you can get them in before preseason tour. Then the whole acclimatization thing is also a non-entity. Eze's played here his whole life. Gyokeres has played in England already in the Championship as well, which is a bit more robust. Maybe, not maybe, but definitely not as technical. But Jordan, what was you going to say?
No. You made a good, interesting point there about Eze. I actually was thinking about it now. I would argue because of the way Arteta plays, I think it's more important that Eze is in before Gyokeres. I think the wide player, for considering what Arteta wants from his wide players, I think it's really more important that he's
Do
in.
you see him as a wide player, bro? Then, because
I
I only see him central for me.
I think Arteta does. I think Arteta does. But I'm with you. I would love to see him as a 10 in the hole and pushing Odegaard. But I think Arteta sees him as a wide player.
So you think it's Eze or Rodrgyo then? That's what you're basically gonna.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get both because of that reason. But if it's Rodrgyo, whoever that left winger coming in is, I think that player is more important than Gyokeres. I think the striker role kind of works itself out. I don't think that needs an amazing amount of time to kind of get used to the system. Whereas I think the expectations of the wide player does. I don't think most players were used to the demands that Mikel Arteta puts on his wide player.
I see what you're saying, but I think it does, Jordan, because what we have now is a player like in Havertz and Mourinho. You have to bring him into this, like that they will do things in the team that allow space for the players going in wide and going in those areas. Those players now are not going to have that. As you said earlier on, this is a player that's going to go the other way. So I think that it changes the roles of Saka, Odegaard, who's ever on the left as well, because I don't think you're going to have that player, and even like maybe even Declan Rice as well, where Havertz or Mourinho would drift out of that role, and then you go into there. That's not going to be there as much because the centre forward is taking that space. It's going to be little different things, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so I get what you're saying. I'm with you on that. Both of them should. In an ideal world, you want everybody going on. Your main ones you want on that tour, don't you? As a signing, so I get the Rodrgyo one that maybe we can be a little bit patient, like also the central defender from Valencia. I think we can be a little bit more, patient on that. Like, even though in an ideal world you want them in, but I'm with you now. I think
I want us to do it the other way. How many years have we heard us sign maybe the bit part or the depth, and then get told we need to sell before we buy what we really needed? This time round, go get your Gyokeres, go get your Eze, go get, identify at least Rodrgyo or the left wing option, and then deal with the Mosqueras and whatever else you want to deal with. That's how I'm looking at it this year. I know Tomiyasu's gone, so our depth has been affected a bit, but I still look at it as we are, we have more than enough to deal with the defensive.
That was a ruthless move, by the way, boys.
Yeah, it was.
It came from nowhere.
Very ruthless. Definitely out of the blue and ruthless as well. Like, I know it sounds silly. I think it's the right thing to do, and we all probably agree with it. But it is ruthless.
It
is. The player must have entertained it for the club, because if we, ruthless would probably do it with Jesus as well, and then maybe you'd understand it. In terms of maybe because the impact of that wages that Jesus and Havertz possesses at the moment, 500k plus on two players that if we all pick our 11, if we do what we need to do in the window, neither make the side. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Lee. I was quite surprised about it.
I just a quick mention on him, because I love Tomiyasu. He's one of my favorite players in the club. I like fullbacks that are solid. I like fullback. I mean, not every fullback can be Trent Alexander-Arnold or Hakimi, right? Those are freaks. But most fullbacks, just do your job. I like 7 out of 10 fullbacks. You haven't got to be man of the match, but you're never going to be he was never below a 5 out of 10. He was always consistently good. He just did his job. In the air, he was great. His back post reading, he was never caught at the back post when the ball's on the other side, or very rarely caught. Really good in the air. Wasn't great going forward, but decent. I liked him. He was, for me, what you want from your archetypal squad fullback. He could play across the back line. Listen, I think Lee's right. I think he had to go.
It was unfortunate though, because he was a good player.
He was. I'm not pleased to see him go, but equally, it's the right decision.
The trouble is, he's out for another 5.5 months.
Yeah.
It's 2 years without playing football.
Yeah.
To come into Arsenal and make an impression after being out for I think it's very, very difficult. So maybe that was part of it, you know. And I'm with you. Like, if it weren't for injuries, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I thought he was a fantastic defender. Fantastic.
Yeah. He was arguably, I mean, if fit, I reckon he would have given Timber and White a bit of run for their money at right back. Honestly, Timber's better. Timber probably just shades it.
At the time, he was our best one-on-one defender.
Yeah.
You know, one player that I remember actually turning him inside out, Diogo Jota.
Yes.
Rest in peace. I remember that game where he cut him in a few. And I was like, right, I haven't seen this done to.
Yes, you're right.
Tomiyasu.
You're totally right.
I remember that game, but yeah, aside from Diogo, I don't remember him getting beaten much. I think maybe Saint Maximin one game had him, maybe, but it was scarce. It was scarce.
Yeah, it's rare.
I remember he went on the left-hand side. You remember against Liverpool,
Salah, yeah,
and locked out Salah, like, you know what I mean.
That was the first time 4 centre backs were played across the back line.
Yeah. That was it, you know. So yeah, it's a shame, but you know, football's ruthless, and unfortunately, part of football is availability as well. You've got to be avaavailable. Like,
100%. Can I just briefly mention Madueke before we move on?
I was wondering, you know,
because
this is an interesting one. Right in Cyprus, or was it actually real? But it's confirmed. Gone.
It's an interesting one. This one, Turkish, because
don't say you want him.
No, I don't want him, and I've never particularly. He represents to me the hype that a lot of fans. He represents the real short-term hype that fans give players, right? When he signed, he came in that same summer at Chelsea, guys, where they signed about 9 man. I think he came in, Badishil came in, Gusto came in. I think Jackson came that summer. They signed about 8 man that summer. And everyone was saying about, oh, Chelsea got all these players. They've got all these attackers. They're going to be really, really good. I said, you know what? Okay, I don't know most of these, man. Let me watch these guys and let me just not listen to the YouTube hype or the punditry hype. Let me watch these guys and make my own opinion. I thought this Madueke guy, he's all right. He's all right. He's not rubbish. He's all right. But the hype was, oh man, and he got, I think, 4 goals at Wolves, or got 3 against Wolves one game.
Oh, this season, yeah. I mean, yeah, he did come in the hype. I think it was January he came in, but it was that season where they was buying a hell of a lot of players.
Man,
he was one of them. But yeah, 5 of his goals last season came against Wolves, I think, in 2 fixtures.
And I just thought to myself, this everyone's just getting way too excited. Anyway, so I was skeptical about him from then. I first saw the links, guys. I turned my laptop off. I had to go to bed. It came through to me at like 9:30 p.m. The laptop went off. I went to bed. I said, if we are going for Madueke, I am done. I'm done. But
oh, here we go. He slept on it, and he.
But the more I thought about it, the more I think to myself, if this is a sign that's done after Rodrgyo, Eze, and Gyokeres, it's not the worst signing. It's not the worst signing if we get him. My only problem with it is 2 things. One, if it's at the cost of Nwaneri, it's a madness. So if the thinking is he's back up to Saka, that's not bad backup. Madueke as your number 2 right winger to win a title, that's not the worst backup. But if it's at the cost of Nwaneri, get in the bin. Get in the bin. And the second thing is 50 mil.
They're mad.
50 mil. If it was 20, 25 mil, cool. Cool little cheap deal coming in as cover. If you're spending 50 mil of your budget on Madueke, I'm sorry. I'm not on it. I'm not on it. He's a good player. No more. No more. And the fun thing I say as well is, we got mocked for like picking up other rivals' players, right? But at least with City, they were top. we at least when we got their cast-offs, they were the best team in the league. Why are we getting Chelsea's cast-offs? What's going on here?
Yeah,
Chelsea below us.
The price is firstly. Let me just say, he's a decent player, right? But we've got decent. We need better than decent. and the price, I swear Chelsea paid about 30 million for him.
Yes.
And he's underwhelmed at 30 million. So why would we entertain anything more than 20? Realistically, 20 with maybe add-ons. But
it feels
even
Havertzy. It feels Havertzy.
Put that all aside though. Ethan's backed up Saka. So all this assumption people are making, like that all of a sudden he's the backup to Odegaard now to make sense of the Madueke links. It doesn't sit right with me because Arteta had ample opportunity through Odegaard's injury and through Odegaard's poor form throughout the season to play Nwaneri centrally, and he pretty much avoided it every single time, aside from maybe 2 minutes against PSG off the bench. Dead rubber league games, the last 8 of them, we pretty much had top 4 sorted Champions League football. He never entertained the idea of Nwaneri central. So I finally thought, I'm out in Cyprus thinking, our right wing's all right. I'm still thinking about striker and left wing. And I'm seeing reports of Madueke. And then subsequently it comes out 10 minutes, 15 minutes later that Chelsea inquired about Nwaneri. That's all it seems to be. And, I won't talk too much on that because, he done the under-21s thing. So maybe the contract talks are delayed and maybe, they will get finalized. But at the same time, asking about game time, I don't like how it's being framed that he's demanding game time. He might simply be asking about game time.
100%.
Football's a young man's world now. I've had to, get my head around it too, in terms of you look around and there is youngsters getting big minutes at big clubs on the big international stages. And Ranieri feels like he's got the talent. He scored 9 goals off the wing. So why are we entertaining a right winger? That's the one position in the whole of the attack. Striker, left wing, 10, right wing, that I thought we were nice in. Saka and Ranieri were good there. Yeah, Saka, take him under your wing, get him a new contract, Arsenal, give him his minutes. Then all of a sudden, even that goes up in the air. The Madueke links, I mean, I'm glad they've quietened down since Saturday. But I hope it doesn't rear its head again. Because
sorry, Lee, before you come in very super quickly, I saw your video, Turkish, on your channel the other day, and you made a point that I totally was in line with as well. You said when these links first came up about a month or so ago, I ignored them.
Yeah.
I ignored them. I was just like, I just ignored it. Just because we were linked with like 15 man. I just thought, I'm not getting involved in this nonsense. I ignored it. But here we are a month later, and the talk is what the club have agreed. Sorry, the club and the player have agreed terms, but Arsenal got to agree a fee with Chelsea. So if that's true, we're at that stage. It's like, what are we doing? And if going back to our earlier chat about left wing, I'm hearing now about, but he can play on the left. I'm sorry. You know my thoughts on the Flirter and Trossard. I'm taking them both before him.
100%. That's what
the other thing is we're in this thing where we're saying, let's sell Martinelli because we can get some money for him, and then we're going to spend £50 million on a player we don't need. Yeah. And also help Chelsea out for their financial It's just an unbelievable deal. I'm with you, Turkish. If they got him for 20 million, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Ranieri neither, because if you're good enough, you get in the team. Simple as that, But for me, if the rumours are right that Sesko's the one we want, and it's a little bit expensive, we'll put the £50 million on that deal on the one that you want rather than something that you don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, if Arsenal bring him in and they don't get Rodrgyo and they don't get Eze and they don't get whatever, I will be done with this management and this ownership, because it's just not being run properly. Not only that, it's helping Chelsea out. Chelsea, by the way, have got to sell players, right? They have got to sell players, right? So you don't be giving them like
50 mil
for someone that we don't really need. And I don't know if he's a great player or not. He's England international. He can't be a bad player. But for me,
Eddie Nketiah was an England international.
I get that. I'm not so. At the end of the day, I'm. And look, listen, I think if Arsenal sign Eze Rodrgyo and then they brought him in, I'd say, along with Gyokeres, I'd turn around and go, all right, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm happy with that, But if they're bringing him in and then like next thing is, well, why aren't you getting Rodrgyo? Why aren't you getting Eze? Because you can't afford them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
The reason why I say it feels a little bit Havertzy, Lee, is because it's one of those signings for me where it's such a big investment at a critical time in Mikel Arteta's tenure. If it doesn't go well, you're in trouble.
yeah.
You're in trouble. I remember Turkish, you saying, I don't know if it was when we first signed Havertz or it was last season, you said he'll be defined by that Havertz signing, because that was at a time when we needed a striker, and you bought in Havertz for 65 mil, which is a lot of money. I know people get 100 mil, 80 mil, but 65 mil is that's a big investment and wages. It felt like you dropped the ball on a crucial signing, and you bet the house on a guy that wasn't ripping it up at Chelsea, wasn't an obvious replacement for Xhaka, who you then end up putting as a forward. This kind of, he won't start like in the way that Havertz starting, but it feels a little bit like you're putting a massive amount of trust, faith, and investment in a guy that doesn't really take us to where you need to take us. This is a shit year where you got to go big, bro. And if you're going to invest 50 mil of your budget on Madueke, that has to work.
Yeah.
You better be sure. You better be sure. Otherwise,
I think it'd be the nail that finishes it. I think, you know, if you look back at the Havertz one, let's be really honest about it. I think he's done well as a centre forward, like, you know what I mean? There's the false nine position, like, you know what I mean? But he wasn't bought for that, guys. He was bought in for the left-sided midfield role, which he completely failed at. If we be honest about it, you know, it didn't work. So, you know, I mean, you can't be spending another 50, 60 million pound on another Chelsea player that's not going to work and expect to get away with it. I don't see how you can. I think that there's going to be a time when you go, no, enough's enough. And listen, there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there that have, you know, will beat the stick for Arteta on anything now. Like, you know, they're finished with him. Like, you know, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans, and I'm one of these that's really on the fence now. Like, you know what I mean? It really depends on what he does this season. That's going to either send me one way or the other with him. Like, you know what I mean? And if he was to bring in this guy and not bring in a Rodrgyo, not bring in an Eze, and it fails, I'm sorry, I cannot support that.
Yeah,
that's how I'm gonna. So it will be then, you know. And I don't want to be all this Arteta in and Arteta out. The facts of the matter is, he has got to win a big one this season, like, you know what I mean. And he's got to spend the money wisely. And listen, if he spends the money on Gyokeres and on Rodrgyo and it doesn't work, at least you can look back and go, do you know what? At least we've give it a bloody good go. You know what I mean? There might be other circumstances, but if he does it with that, and there isn't in the same sort of circumstances, people are going to flip. They're going to flip.
Yeah, but it's that season now. You know, we need a renewed lease of life, a bit more excitement into it, and go again. And like you said, get one of the majors. That's the, you know, no entitlement there. It's just, you know, that's the feeling we need to go into the season with, that we're capable of winning this Premier League title. Everything else after that, we'll see how that goes. But not only that, you know, I'd like to be in all competitions come April. That'd be nice as well. You know, because that increases your chances of winning one of the big ones, as Lee will call them, the majors. So it's a big season for us. It's a big season. The Gyokeres one would be an exciting signing, but you know, it cannot end there. Not sure if you lot knew, but you know, it came out of nowhere really. But we signed Zubimendi. Signed, sealed, delivered. Welcome video out. Yeah,
and it took 12 months to get that confirmed, isn't it?
Yeah, the long haul. I think Edu started the negotiations.
Yeah,
over them.
I think Sanielli started that one. You know what I mean? Like, bloody hell.
Yeah. We done a welcome video. We started that about Christmas time.
yeah, I've been welcoming him for 6 months. They launched it after United FA Cup exit. They launched it again after PSG Champions League exit, and they had the cheek to bring out a welcome. Brothers, just bring him in, put him in the squad, and let's get him acclimatized during pre-season. So,
it's a bad boy signing though. That is a very. I've seen a lot of him over the last couple of years. He is going to be. I think if we get him, if we get that one right in terms of getting him in the right position, we could be talking come the end of the season, signing of the summer. He is. I know Wirtz is like getting all the headlines, and Wirtz the game changer for sure. Reinders, I've heard good things about. There's some good transfers actually been done, I think, so far in this Premier League. He's up there. He's up there. Trust me. He's a guy. He's a baller. We've got a baller there, so I'm excited about him. Really excited about him.
And obviously, Norgard, he probably will be released at some point today, it seems, considering it's been leaked that, the welcome video was being recorded yesterday at the training ground. So it's a revamped midfield. And, we've spoken about transfer stuff and, the rumours picking up pace, not only July and PSR, but over the last 2 weeks while I've been in Cyprus. But our midfield's been revamped. We knew about Jorginho leaving towards the end of the season, going Flamingo. Something we didn't know about was how it would end with Thomas Partey. Seemingly gone.
Sorry, Douglas, just before we get to Partey, because this probably will be the kind of non-football part of our pod. You mentioned it earlier on, but we should obviously, as a podcast, condolences to the Jota family. I mean, I know it was a week ago, but madness, absolute madness, really tragic, really sad.
Yeah.
I think the response from all content creators, all of football and beyond, has been really, really classy and appropriate. And just thinking about the family have buried 2 sons, like one is a madness, but to bury 2 sons.
Their only child was only two, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. Got married 10 days before. It's a madness. Absolute madness. I just briefly as a
no, it's not even you're right too. I was gonna kind of end with that part.
Sorry, man.
No, you're right to bring it up regardless, just in case, because we didn't talk about a plan beforehand. But it hit me out there. I can't lie to you, it really hit me. And I always think about the children in this situation. You mentioned the mother in this situation, the parents. Then you got the wife, and to leave 3 kids behind just like that, a very, very talented footballer, and his brother Andre Silva, obviously, very talented footballer that, over the years, I would have taken at Arsenal Football Club many a time.
Bad boy. He was a bad boy.
Yeah, man. Both feet into the box. He was always tricky to deal with. He scored a few past us as well.
He killed us, a few times.
Yeah, and and then you see images of it as you do on social media, and you just think, mate, like it just puts everything into perspective. Football is nothing, people. Life, live, love, laugh, enjoy times with your loved ones. Make as many memories as you can, whether that's just chilling with your granddad, having a cup of tea, or whether it's taking your children to the park, or whether it's kissing your missus goodbye in the morning. It really put things into perspective, and it always does. We can see atrocities going on all over the world and kids dying and whatnot. And it's disgusting. And these moments, the Jota, because he's so revered, he's so famous in the football world, it really did hit me that day. When was it? I think it was last Wednesday.
I think it was Thursday.
Last Thursday that happened. So thoughts are with the family, obviously.
I'd expect Arsenal. I think all Premier League clubs, first game of the season, will probably do some kind of honour.
Yeah.
But we've got Liverpool, obviously, third game. So I expect Arsenal to, when they go to Anfield, to, kind of show some kind of mark of respect, or, mark it in some way, because it will still be early in the season.
I think they will. Yeah. For us fans, it's like, with rivalry aside and all that, we're all a football family, aren't we? Like, and like for me, it just shows you that listen, life to everybody is a gift. You know what I mean? Like, we're very, very lucky, and we've just got to enjoy it as best you can. And because you never know. And he had everything, didn't he? That's what, he had everything, and it's just been taken away just like that. Nothing that he can do. One moment of whatever, a decision to overtake, or even a decision to go by ferry, what I mean? It's all maps out for you, isn't it? Like, I mean, if you don't get the operation, he goes by plane, you know what I mean? So I think that just enjoy life, and I just feel for his mum and dad. I don't know what the hell they're going through. Like, you got a son that you can be proud of, two sons that are playing professional football. You know, is the dream, living the dream, and just to have it taken away just like that, it's just shocking.
It's secondary to obviously the family and their loss, but Liverpool Football Club, they've had a rough month. When you think about the celebrations that happened, the parade, do you know what I mean? And now this is as a club, and as a city, they've had a rough 2 months. But yeah, primary obviously the family and what they've lost. So also our thoughts with them.
100%, man. Just takes you away from football, and value life, people. Value life, value loved ones. Be nice. And yeah, I mean, I was going to get into the Thomas Partey news that came out 24 hours after the Jota one. That was 48 hours of madness emotionally as well, because the Thomas Partey news that he's been charged for the allegations that have been circling around for a few years also hit hard, because I look at Arsenal Football Club and the way they seemingly handled the situation, and there's many questions, to say the least. Now, it's a very delicate and sensitive subject to talk about, not just reason being because it's going into court and going into trial, but generally these types of cases are very emotional. We all know women, we all have women in our family, and to hear these allegations and to hear it's been taken one step further into charges and court coming up in August for a player that's represented Arsenal Football Club, it just doesn't sit right in terms of how it's handled. But I look at the contract talks come the end of the season, and I thought, as much as the allegations have been floating around for a little while now, surely there must have been an end to it, because Arsenal care more about how they look and the PR side of things more than any other club, in my opinion. So for them to go into talks, I just thought, all right, so maybe there wasn't as much weight in those allegations as there once seemed to be. Hence why here on this podcast and on my channel and wherever I talked about wanting a renewal. But now looking back at it, and again, there is no definitive end to this right now. It's still, amongst the court, going to go to, jury and judge and whatnot. It just hasn't sat well with me either. So I think it's worth mentioning as well on this podcast, because I haven't spoken of it yet, but we speak every single week, twice a week, more time. So I'm interested to know your thoughts and the feeling around it.
Lee, do you mind if I go first?
You go first. Yeah,
I've got some thoughts on this, and I know we're over an hour, so I've got a few thoughts I want to try and rattle through. It's important to note that we must say, first of all, that he denies all the charges. So just to kind of like for balance, he denies all the allegations. I think the club's conduct on this whole affair, guys, has been disgraceful. Now, we use that word disgraceful a lot in football, and I try to not use it because there's very few things in a football context where I think the word disgraceful is warranted.
Applicable, yeah.
But I think this is warranted. I think Arsenal have massively let themselves and the fan base down here. And I think we're partly culpable to some degree as well, and I'll get to that in a second. Do you guys remember when I said at the start of the season, I spoke about, I can't remember why it came up, but I spoke about the fact that it irked me, Chelsea fans' reaction to Enzo Fernandez and the whole video of him being with the Argentina team, and he was singing that racist anti-African song. Not just him, but he was leading the chant. And I spoke about the fact that Chelsea fans should have been booing him every home game. Or every game, should have been booing. And I'm not stupid, not naive. I know that's not going to happen. But for me, some things are more important than football, right? And when you've got your vice captain who has been blatantly in a video, racially singing a song that's racist against Africans, that for me is disgraceful, right? And I expect the Chelsea fans to condemn that. I've got my thing with Chelsea separately that I think is a club. I just don't, they're not for me, but that's a separate discussion. When Man United had Edison Cavani, and he did the racist tweet. Well, he did the tweet where he used the N-word that translates in Latin American, South American culture as they interpret it, something different. Mm-hmm. I condemn Man United for not coming down harder on him. I thought how they handled that was a disgrace. So the reason why I mentioned those two situations is because if anything with me, I'm often wrong, guys, but I'm always consistent. I'm consistent. And I've always said that when these sorts of things come up, I'm going to call out other clubs 100% as I did. But let me tell you, I expect from my family, from my friends, and from my football club, even higher standards. So if my club does a madness, if my friend does a madness, I'm going to call you out even more, right? Because some issues are more important than friendship or supporting your club. Arsenal, Thomas Partey has been arrested 5 times. 5 times. I forgot that.
I read 7.
5 times. There are 7 allegations
Okay.
against him.
Mhm.
Arsenal obviously were aware of this and continue to play him. Now, it's also important to know that Arsenal legally have done nothing wrong. They've done nothing wrong legally, right? They're entitled to play him. They've now let him go.
And morally.
But morally, and people's morals are different. So even the moral argument is an interesting one because what's moral for you could be different for me. But Benjamin Mendy was suspended without pay, I think, for Manchester City. Mason Greenwood was suspended by Manchester United. Now, there's video evidence, so that kind of maybe is a little bit different. But the mere fact that Arsenal didn't feel the need to suspend Thomas Partey for being arrested, there weren't allegations, there were arrests. When there's arrest, at that point, I'm sorry, you can't play him. You can't, well, you can, but you shouldn't be playing him. You shouldn't, right? And for them to still play him because he's a good player and an important player, for me, it's disappointing. One of the reasons why I support Arsenal Football Club, Lee and Turkish, is because Arsenal are a club off the field that I feel, and they pride themselves on the fact they carry themselves with a little bit of class and doing things the right way. Often at times to their own detriment, following the rules, doing things the right way. But I like that, even though it harms us sometimes. I've had discussions with my friends this week, guys, about rival fans saying, you guys think you're better than everybody else, but look how you conducted yourselves in this situation. No argument. I have no argument. I have no defense because they're right. They're totally right. Arsenal have been the leaders in the women's game. Leaders for 25 years in the women's game. After George Floyd was murdered, I and my company did some work with Arsenal Football Club in the community, building relations with the Black community. And we've seen in recent years with the kit collaboration, all kinds of activations, how they are plugged into the Black community. You know, I'm disabled. I played, my claim to fame, twice for Arsenal Football Club in their disability team. They do a lot of work in that particular space. Arsenal, in so many spaces, guys, are leaders. Yeah. And a part of the reason why I'm so proud to support this football club. Arsenal, for me, I support, it's more than winning games. I know for many people, it's just win games, win trophies. Fine. For me, it's more than that. It's more than just winning for me. It's about how you hold yourself. If I'm investing my time, my money, my effort into a club, I need more than trophies. You got to conduct yourself in the right way. And in this instance, they have disgraced themselves, guys. And then to offer him a contract, knowing what was going on, they had an out.
Sorry, that's the bit that I really didn't. That made me feel, because like I said with Arsenal, they like to about how they look, right? Like look at the Ozil situation, look at the El Nene. So it's about how. So I thought with the contract talks, I thought that there must be an end to this now, because you know Arsenal would never continue to try and talk about a contract when. But
Turkish, they had an out. His contract ended last month. They had an out. They had a way of getting out of this with a little bit of. They still would have got a bit of heat, but they didn't. But to offer him a contract is so poor. And just finally, and I'll shut up. In the statement, it says they put out a long statement about the party situation, and there's a line that says the player's contract ended on Monday, the 30th of June, as if to say, "No, I'm not our thing anymore." What are you doing? What are you doing? We are the classiest club in English, maybe world football, in my opinion. I love how we carry ourselves. On this one, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And you said we've all got women in our lives. So this is a bigger discussion around violence against women. And again, I'll repeat, he denies the charges. But for Arsenal to be continuously playing a player that has that many charges, not one, that many charges against them, for me is disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Imagine, and people talk about duty of care. Oh, imagine if you're a junior female member of staff at Arsenal Football Club, a physio, a masseuse, and you have to you have to see that person every single day. I'm a big man. I can handle myself. I'm fine. It wouldn't be an issue for me. But you're a 19-year-old woman in that building. Do you feel safe? Do you feel comfortable? Maybe you don't. And for us to put people in that situation by still having him in the building, I'm sorry, they've massively let themselves down. Massively. And I've got no defense. And I won't defend it. I won't defend the club at all. I won't. We can talk about refereeing decisions and bad luck and it. This one, no defense. It's disgraceful. I'm so angry. I'm so angry, man. Because I expect better. If this was another club, I expect better. Sorry, I'm talking too much now.
No, the way you've I mean, it's a subject that it can get man emotional, right? It's serious allegation, but the way you framed it with the legalities of the situation, the fact Thomas Partey denies it. You mentioned Mendy, and I think Mendy's also an example of the other side where allegations and charges and even jail time, and it ruined the career, and one he didn't get back, maybe financially.
I'm not saying fire him. I'm not saying fire him. No, suspend him at least.
What, on full pay?
Even that, I'd probably suggest, and this is all in hindsight, loan him out or sell him at the time. Try and distance yourself as much away from it, regardless of, whether you know or don't know. Like you said, if you're getting arrested, loan him out, sell him on, do what you need to do to distance yourself as much as you can, because, like you said,
Circus, do you then saying that he's guilty? This is the problem, right? I think at this moment in time, everything, if it comes out that he has done all this, then it's I agree with it. But I go back to Sigurdsson 3 years ago, was accused of doing things which was totally he was dumped by Everton, career ruined, all false allegations. You know what I mean? Like, so
difficult.
You are innocent until you're proven guilty. And that, I think, has got to come out and be serious. So if Arsenal suspend him, and I haven't done nothing wrong, that's obviously he's gone with that line, and I think that it comes down to the moral of him. If he must have come out at some stage and said, "Look, this is all rubbish," blah blah blah. I have to look at the police in this situation. 3 years. Takes 3 years to sort this out. I think is an unbelievable amount of time. I think that's terrible. This should, these allegations, and by the way, we all know are very, very serious. Shouldn't that have been sorted out within a year at the most? To go on for 3 years and then,
I think because there were different allegations from different women at different times. I think they kind of spanned over 3 years. So you're right. It should have been sorted out quicker than this. But I think the second allegation.
If you're murdering someone, Jordan, you don't go and let them carry on murdering, do you? And then go, oh well, we're working this out. Those allegations, were going on. If you sort it out there, and then perhaps it don't happen again. Now, listen. At the end of the day, things can happen. A woman can be say an allegation and whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know it does happen. I know. One of my mates was accused of not on the same sort of thing, but and it turned out that she was just being bitter about it, and blah blah blah. But I see what we was going through, and it wasn't great. But what I'm saying is, if it comes out and it is true, it's.
But Lee, sorry to cut you. But for me, it's not even about whether he's guilty or innocent. I'm making no judgment on whether he did it or not. That's for the court to decide. I have no knowledge of whether he did it or didn't. That's not my issue. My issue is, once you've been arrested, and you both make a good point, because even if you suspend somebody, are you basically as an employer saying, I think you might have done it? I get that. But when those allegations are that serious, I'm sorry, you have to remove that person. Sorry, the arrest comes through. You have to remove that person from the environment. You're not sacking them.
People arrested, Jordan, are still innocent. I know what you're saying.
That is true. You're right.
So everybody that gets arrested, like, oh, that's it. Like, you know what I mean?
I think for a crime of this level, I think for a crime,
that is the thing. Where, and maybe that's why they've took their time, because on the if you're going to arrest somebody like that, I also think, like, again, you should be doing it a lot because of the victims, the women and all that. Like, get this guy, whoever it will be, off the street so that he ain't going to do it again. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the arrest should have come, it should have been done a lot quicker. And listen, Arsenal are going to get a lot of heat for it. But, like, what you have to put, like, if I'm trying to, I mean, like, it's hard. So we're not in an environment. But if you're accused of saying you're innocent, you know what I mean, like, and you've been taken away from your job or whatever, it's a very, very.
That's why I don't even lean on the court date, and I just say it's in Allah's hands, it's in God's hands, because if the crime is true, it's one of the hardest things to be able to prove, especially years on. Like, you've seen this over the years, and if it's not true, the person accused still has that tarnished reputation, name. So regardless of the outcomes from even the court, the justice system, how many times do we hear there is no justice? Regardless, whichever way you're looking at it.
Listen,
it's hard to really definitively.
Which is important, Sergey. Like, this is important. Like, Mason Greenwood's finished in England, right? Yeah. Even though he was cleared of all the, or a case got dropped and all that, but there was video evidence, and you can make your own mind up from it. Like, you know what I mean? Now, there isn't that we haven't seen nothing on this. We haven't, none of it's there. Like, there could be pictures of this girl with bruises on her face or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Those sort of things maybe should have come to light, or they would have come to light to Arsenal. And if they have all that sort of information and they've gone down this road, then it's a disgrace. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Why Arsenal went down this road, I don't know. It might come out in a year's time that it's all we don't know. And that's what I was saying. But surely there must be some, I don't know. I don't know. Do the police go to the employer and go, look, this? I don't think they do they? I don't really know.
The police wouldn't make a deal with the club. That's I've seen that conspiracy theory. I feel like the police probably thought his contract's up. He's about to leave the country, so let's nab him now before he does that, and it becomes more difficult to.
Again, I don't agree with that, because he'd been on holiday before that.
No, but I mean, this is end of contract though.
He's end of contract, but he's still. Listen, the season finished in May, right? He's got money to fly wherever he wants. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, they've not took his passport away or anything like that. I don't know. I'm not. By the way, I'm not sticking up for him in any shape or form or Arsenal on this. All I'm saying is that he's innocent until he's proven guilty, and that's my. That you know what I mean, and everybody, straight away, it's judged on. Listen, Basuma had the same allegations put before him. I don't know if he was arrested, but there was things like all got dropped, all forgotten now. You know what I mean? Like,
this is why, Lee, for me, it's not really about Partey. This is for me. It's not really about Partey. My issues with Arsenal. Because whether he's guilty or not, I don't know. I don't know if he's guilty or not. And you're right.
And we might never know.
Huh?
And we might never know, because
we might never know. So
no. Well, I think we need to know. I think, like, you can't. If he has done this, he's got to be punished, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get this right. You know what I mean? If he has done what's done, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about money and things like that. That needs to be addressed.
And the law will sort that. My grievance with the club and how they've handled this, and you've both made a fair point that if they had done the opposite, what I'm suggesting they've done, that then doesn't look good either. But I just think when the allegations are this serious, I'm sorry, you can't be continuously playing this guy, and then offer him a contract. It's not the Arsenal that I know. It's not the Arsenal that I support. That's not the right thing to do. Do the right thing, even if it means, because you can't tell me. Let me ask you right now: if these same allegations and arrests had have happened to Tomiyasu, do they still have him in the squad? Let's say he was fit. Do they still play him? They don't. They've played Partey because he's a key part of the team.
No, I'm not having that, Joe. Like, if he's done it,
You think if a fringe player had the same allegations, they still play the player?
It's hard to say.
I'd like to think that they, it doesn't matter where you are in the pecking order. If you're innocent, you're innocent. If you're guilty, you're guilty, Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it's a terrible situation that they're all in now because of it. Like, you know what I mean? Listen, there's only one person that he obviously at some stage has gone up to Arsenal and said, "This is rubbish. This is rubbish." Like, you know what I mean? Like, now, according to his lawyer, she's turned around. He's categorically denying all charges. Is like, and he's now happy to go to trial to clear his name. Well, that's what he's got to do now. If he clears his name, Jordan, and it is all comes out, then you have to say, but if this is the thing, like, look at that Mendy thing. I don't know even if Mendy was innocent or not. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's a good point. It's a good point, because even if Partey is cleared, and this is why I say
this is what I'm saying. Yeah, I get that. And that's where
the conviction rates. We know this for women being
yes, that's what I'm getting into.
So even if whether he's convicted in a court of law, for me, it doesn't really matter. I don't know Partey, and I hope that if he did do it, he gets done for it. If he doesn't, he gets off. That for me is a separate issue, because even if he gets off, that doesn't mean he didn't do it.
No, that's a great point. I needed to.
You know what I mean? But yeah. So my focus isn't Thomas Partey. My focus is Arsenal Football Club and how they deal with this. This happens again. Mm-hmm. How do they deal with it next time? And I just think it's very out of the way they normally handle. Well, I say that there's been a few instances recently. The Mesut Ozil one. Yeah. Everyone knows my thoughts on Mesut Ozil as a player at Arsenal. I thought he was the pound for pound worst transfer we've ever made. But how the club treated him when he spoke up for the Uyghurs, the Muslim Uyghurs, was a disgrace. Mm-hmm. It was a disgrace. I was with Mesut Ozil.
But that's why when you say classy club, I mean, that I think that's long gone, if I'm honest with you.
Maybe.
But yeah, but I did think we needed to talk about this.
Yeah.
So relevant to prevalent and relevant.
Listen, if he is guilty, I just need to put this out there. Like, if found guilty and he is guilty in that, throw the book at him. I don't care, like, you know what I mean? Like, and Arsenal will have to take some heat then as well, 100%. You know what I mean? I think that needs to be said, like, because
at him and anyone else that does.
Well, the other thing is he's lied for 3 years and he'll have a living out of it for 3 years. Why the victims are suffering, like, you know what I mean? I think that has to be said as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, where can I put it? If he had done these things, he admits it and all that, like, it could have been, like, for it to go on for 3 years, you know what I mean? All he's cared about is himself, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
but again, like Jordan said, we're not, we don't know any of the fine details.
No, that's the thing.
We speak of him and spoke of him as Thomas Partey, the footballer, as we do with every other player. We don't know them personally. More often than not, we don't anyway. And this is the Forever Arsenal pod. So I thought, once I get back from Cyprus, it's something to discuss. And I think we've looked at it from different perspectives and different angles. And I want everyone to, in the also comment section, respect, the severity of the situation as well, and the delicacy and sensitivity of it. I see far too many people online, not just opposition fans, but amongst, just playing with such a topic is not, you don't play with it, people. No. Let it play out. We'll see. And like I said, if it needs to be addressed again, we'll address it again. But we'll keep it moving from here because we have passed an hour and a half now, lads. Yeah, I mean it's 9:45 in the morning, so I know, we haven't got that long left in terms of everyone has to get on with the rest of their day. But yeah, Jordan, you're smiling there. What was you gonna
Yeah,
say?
no, can we just end with some comments? Just a couple
I've
comments.
got a comment of the day. Do you want to know
Oh,
mine?
I ain't got a comment today. Well, I know what your one is. I know what your one is. Like, I got a few. Yeah. I was gonna swear then, but I got a few shout outs to kind of mention. First, I want to shout out. I wrote them down. Benny and Ayo. Shout them out. Big them up. And Tanika, beautiful young lady. With some beautiful young lady friends. I met them all at the Dale Elliott Jr. concert show. He's a comedian at the O2. They were all at the O2. I saw some people on the train as well. They were saying love to the Fourever Arsenal. But yeah, big up Benny, Ayo, and Tanika. So I'll shout you out. I promised. There was someone else as well, somewhere else, but I can't remember. But those ones I wrote down. Big you lot up.
Benny, Ayo, Tanika, and someone else you didn't write down. So
I was running, and I couldn't stop. And yeah, sorry, bro.
So we'll leave comments of the day then, since I'm the only one with one. But
No, I've got one.
Do it.
Go on, Lee. What's yours?
Well, I'll make this guy right. Looks like Lee is sniffing something dodgy in his hand on the thumbnail. What was all that about? Like, I mean, like,
wait, I can't remember it. Oh yeah,
it's like, you know what I mean. Like, you know, I'll put my hand down my balls or something. Like, you know what I mean. Like, why would they highlight that? You know what I mean? Like, this. Have I upset somebody in the thumbnail department or something like that?
Ryan does.
It's gone.
Ryan does put up some thumbnails of me that look awful.
Oh, it's gone again. Fuck it.
It's good.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. And it's been highlighted by people as well. Like, you know what I mean. Like, totally unnecessary.
It's Ryan.
And someone called Turkish LDN made a comment as well. Like, you know what I mean, about someone and Scandalously. Like, you know, I mean, if I ever find out who it is, it's obviously like a fake.
It's got to be AI. It's got to be AI.
You know what I mean? Like, well, I think it's fake because it was one of the first up. Like, you know what I mean? So, like,
it's got to be fake.
Oh, do you mean this one here? Jordan talking rubbish 47 seconds in. I'm out. Is that the comment you mean?
Who would actually highlight that unless you're an absolute.
I mean, we all know it. Kind of comment on it. Is it?
He's
How many likes on it? How many likes?
558. Easy money.
Wow.
Easy money.
Wow, that might be a record.
Yeah. No. We've had 1,000 likes in it.
Okay.
Unsubscribed once had 1,000 likes. But look, last week Jordan started talking rubbish 47 seconds in. Today he ends talking rubbish 47 seconds out. Love for the love people. We'll see you again soon. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed.